Hey guys, what's going on? It's Derek, and this video is going to be an Unholy PvP guide, so I hope you guys like it. I haven't had a video out in a while, so this is going to make up for it. This is my first time doing one of these videos, so go easy on me. Make sure to like the video, comment on it, and I hope you guys learn from it. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to go over is gemming and reforging, because it's probably the easiest thing. For Death Knight, you're really squishy against melee classes, so what you want to do is you want to have a lot of resilience. Playing as Unholy, you're basically like invincible against casters. They tend to not train you as much unless all your cooldowns are gone, then they'll kill you. But yeah, so you want to have a lot of resilience. So all of my yellow gems, I spec'd, or not spec'd, but I put 20 strength and 20 resilience. I'm going to upgrade those once I get the conquest points for the, upgraded ones that you get from the vendor. So you want to have, 20 strength, 20 resilience in all of your yellow gems. And in my blue gems, I have the 20 resilience, 25 spell pen, because you want to have 170 spell pen. So 25 spell pen plus 50 spell pen is 75, plus another 25 is 100, and then I always get the 70 spell pen to cloak. So that gives you 170, and you'll be fine. None of your stuff will resist or anything. For meta gem, I get the 54 strength and 33% critical effect. I don't really know what the critical effect is. I guess that means your crit. But the 54 strength is really good, so get that. That's like the best in slot for a Death Knight. Obviously get Rune of the Fallen Crusader, because it, gives you strength, so that's good. And basically all you want to do is reforge all of your gear to haste, but you want to make sure that your hit cap is over, or 5% or higher. Obviously you don't want to go over hit cap. I'm a little over hit cap, but that really, it doesn't matter. I mean, 0.25% like over, is it really gonna stab me in the back? No, so you'll be fine. So yeah, it's really the easiest thing to go over. That's why I want to do it first, and it's your first step in becoming a really good Unholy Death Knight. No one? No one? Okay. Alright, so we'll move on to the next thing. Alright, so the next thing we're going to go over is the talents and glyphs. Now, before I go over this, I just want to say there are some talents that I really don't have to explain, because if you played Unholy before, you know what they are. They're pretty obvious. It's like if I went over like a frost tree and was like, make sure to get, Howling Blast. Obviously you know that. I'm not going to go too in-depth on those, but I will go over some of the talents that some people do spec into and some don't spec into. So I'm basically just going to skip like the first half of the talent trees, because when you get to like the bottom half, that's when people are confused where to put your glyphs, or talent points. Alright, so you put 5 up here. Obviously you know what those do. Desecration, yep. Morbidity, increase the damage and healing of Death Coil. Rune of Corruption, yep, we know that. I don't spec into Epidemic, because you have Festering Strike anyways, and you're going to be using it. So the increased duration of your diseases is not really going to matter. Along with Contagion, like... I can't even, I mean, yeah, it does more damage, but you have to spec into Epidemic, so it's like, why waste the talent points when you could be specking into something else? Obviously spec into Shadow Infusion, which goes down to Dark Transformation, which makes your ghoul like a badass. You want to spec into Magic Suppression, because it absorbs 100% of your spell damage, so basically you're immune to all spell damage when AMS is up, and when that happens, you get full runic power, basically. So say if you had a bunch of dots on you from a warlock, and they were ticking like a time bomb, You throw that up, it's like you basically have an instant bar of runic power. And the more damage they do to you, which into your AMS, the more runic power you have. So say you're like low on health, and say you're playing like an MLS and they're training you. You just pop AMS, and you have all these dots on you and all this damage coming to you, and then you basically have bang, a full runic bar, and you just Lich-born heal and you're topped off. And I'm sure they're like, what the fuck, man? That's bullshit. But it's like, you mad, bro? You mad? And then once once AMS is over, then you're basically a free kill. Just kidding. Well, yeah, you're basically a free kill. But I digress. And once you spec into magic suppression, you obviously get anti-magic zone, which it's pretty good. I use it a lot. But usually when you're playing like against a bursty comp, like say you play against an MLS and a mage is on you, and as soon as your anti-magic zone goes up, it's most likely going to fall back down because they just do so much damage. And I digress again. So we're moving on. You want to spec into Death's Advance because when your Unholy runes are both depleted, say you're like slowed by like Frostbolt, or Chill Banes, or I don't know, something that slows you, you're not going to dip below 75% of your normal movement speed, which means you're harder to kite for a mage, unless, well, mages can kite anything, but you get what I'm saying. So you want to spec into Death's Advance. Alright, now we're going to go to Rage of Rivendare, which a lot of Death Knights, when they're first starting off as Unholy, have a lot of questions about. I spec into it obviously because when I am bursting against a team where their healer's in a CC chain, or their healer just, he has no way of living, I like to do as much damage as I possibly can. 45% increase to Scourge Strike and Festering Strike, like, that's a lot of damage. So that's why I spec into it. You don't have to spec into it. If you're just going to spam Necrotic, then you don't have to spec into this. I'm saying spec a lot. So it's really all preference. It's kind of like, I can't think of a class right now where you have a preference. Oh, like Dual Wield Frost. You want to spec into Obliterate? Yeah, it's basically all your preference. So try both out. Try not specking into Rage of Rivendare and try specking into it. See how the damage is. If you're PvEing, obviously you want this spec because you're not gonna be spamming Necrotic against a raid boss. So yeah, and now we're gonna move on to obviously you're gonna get Unholy Blight. It's like another disease. Anti-magic zone. I already went over that. Improved Unholy Presence, yes, I already went over that. And now here's another one where a lot of people have questions. I like to spec 1 into Ebon Plaguebringer and 2 into Sudden Doom because that extra Death Coil that doesn't cost any runes, it really does come in handy whether I'm healing myself or doing damage. Like you can play around with these. You can try having 2 in Ebon Plaguebringer, and then what do you get? 1? Right? You'll get 2, I think, in here. No, you'll get 1. And my math is really so play around with it. This is just the way I like to run it. The Ebon Plaguebringer, Ebon Plague, which decreases damage taken from your diseases. It does come in handy when it's 30%, but I don't know, I just like the extra death coils, because it does proc a lot, so yeah. Now we're going to go on to Summon Gargoyle. Summon Gargoyle is basically, that is your burst. Like, it does so much damage. It won't be doing like 20k crits, obviously, but it's like every, I don't know, it shoots like a laser out. That ticks for like up to 9k damage, and it's like, it helps your damage a lot. Like, that thing can like solo someone if they're just like AFK, obviously. But yeah, spec into this. I mean, if you don't spec into it, you're an idiot. Sorry. I mean, this is your main damage as Unholy. And then we're gonna go to Frost Tree. I just like to Icy Rage, Runic Power Mastery. obviously you spec into that, you get Lichborn and a free Mind Freeze. So that's, I mean, I don't really have to go into detail about those. If you played a DK, you obviously know what those are. Lichborn makes you undead. You can heal yourself, and each death coil will tick for like 30k. So yeah, that's the talents, and now I'm going to go on to Glyphs. Alright, so now we finished the talents, which I will say I didn't do a really good job on. This is my first time doing it, but again, I digress. Two of the major talents that you want is Glyph of Raised Dead and Glyph of Death Coil. You want these because increases the damage and healing of Death Coil, and your ghoul receives 40% of your strength and stamina, so he'll have, like, look, 104k health, and I don't know how much strength he has. I could look, but I don't want to. Glyph of Scourge Strike. Like, this is the one that a lot of people have questions about. You can either spec into Glyph of Scourge Strike, or where is it? Or Icy Touch. Wait. Yeah, or Icy Touch. Wait a minute, am I missing one? No. I keep thinking of one. Okay, so you can either spec into that or Icy Touch, which increases the damage of your Frost Fever. See, I've played around with both of them, and I haven't really noticed a difference between specking into Scourge Strike or Glyph of Icy Touch. I'm sure I'll get more benefit out of Icy Touch because I don't use Scourge Strike, as I said, unless I'm bursting. So, if you're not going to spec into Rage of Rivendare, don't get Scourge Strike. It's basically a waste of a glyph. Get Icy Touch. But you won't really notice anything. So, No, you don't want Death Strike. I don't know why I'm thinking this right now. You don't want Death Strike. You don't want Obliterate. You don't use Obliterate, obviously. No Rune Strike. They really need to make like another glyph, like maybe increase the damage of Necrotic Strike, but that'd probably be too OP. But yeah, so play around with them again. If you don't spec into Rage of Rivendare, get Icy Touch. If you do, you might want to go with Scourge Strike just to play around with the damage. Yeah. So then we're going to go on to major glyphs, and we're going to get Anti-Magic Shell, which increases the duration of your Anti-Magic Shell by 2 seconds. You want that. Glyph of Strang, because if somebody's casting and you cast it on them, it'll last 2 seconds longer. And this is another gem or glyph that a lot of people have. You want Pestilence or Chains of Ice? I like to go with Chains of Ice because, I mean, it does more damage when you put it on them. Pestilence, if you're playing against a comp like, say PhD, I've had this problem a lot. You want to spread your diseases, but you don't want to spread your diseases to that they hit the healer, who is probably going to be set up in a trap by your hunter. So you really want to make sure that your diseases don't spread too far if you're trying to set up CC. So I don't like to spec into Pestilence, because 5 yards is a lot, and it could like decide whether you win the game or not. So I go into Chains of Ice. You don't see a big damage increase, but it's basically like another filler glyph. It's really kind of stupid. Yeah. You could get Death Grip. If you want Death Grip, you can get that instead of Chains of Ice. I've never actually used this. I think I'm gonna try that. Getting a Glyph of Death Grip increases the range of your Death Grip by 5 yards. Play around with that third glyph. It's all preference, I think. It's really how you play. So yeah. And minor glyphs, there's not really like, there's not, you can I really should get Death's Embrace. Right now I have Blood Tap, Horn of Winter, and Resilient Grip. I think they're pretty good glyphs. You should try getting Death's Embrace. That's another one I should play around with. Blood Tap, it just doesn't do damage to you. I don't know how much damage it would do, because I've always spec'd into this. These have always been my minor glyphs. yeah, I mean, it's really, you really have to play around with it to get used to it. This is just how I've been playing it for a long time. I'm probably going to try to switch it up. So yeah, we're going to move on to the next. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is basically your opener and how you're going to start to put all your damage out. A lot of people, well, I don't know how a lot of people do it. This is just the way I've been doing it, and it's worked so far. The first thing I open up with is a Chains to put on my Frost Fever, then Plague Strike to put on my Blood Plague and Ebon Plague, Death Coil to put on Ebon Plague. I don't know, I was probably up there from before. Then you start wanting to do Necrotics. You do Festering Strike to convert your Blood Runes into Death Runes, which will give you even more Necrotics. So, you know, basically, you're just going to be spamming Necrotic from now on. And once your diseases are about to fall off, you want to do a Festering Strike. Yeah. So this is basically your rotation. Don't let any of your diseases fall off, because it's really going to be a loss in damage. Make sure when your ghoul's like going full retard to make him go full retard. Your gargoyle, it comes out with 60 runic power, so make sure you have the runic power and your cooldowns up for when you want to burst, because if you're like, I'm gonna burst, and then you don't have your cooldowns up and you don't have, you know, your gargoyle ready, it's just gonna be a big fail. So yeah, that's basically all you really need to do to open up and get your damage rolling. Let's see how many necrotics I have. I have 261,000 absorb on this guy, and really don't mind that lag. I don't know why I'm lagging. So yeah, that's basically how you wanna begin DPSing. And I will say though, if you're like 1v1ing against a melee, all you really have to do is just kite. Like your ghoul can like solo him, so all you really want to be doing is throwing up chains, keeping your diseases on him, you know, throwing necrotics on him, then like run like a little girl, and yeah, have your pet solo him. And your pet can solo him. I've seen it done. I've done it before. For casters, it's almost like the same thing, but you want to be in their face for necrotics, because if you have a huge stack of necrotics on them, they're going to be casting slow as balls. So just, you know, be aware of that. And yeah, so now we're going to go on to the next thing, which is macros. Alright, so now we're going to go to macros. I don't have a lot of macros. The first macro that I'll show you, since I'm here anyways, is my trinket, where I have Lifeblood, which increases my haste by 480, and my trinket together. Then the only other macros that I have are these shown. These are the only macros I use. I have a macro that switches between blood and unholy presence. This is just in case you're getting trained. It's best to just switch presences and start death striking. I've had to do that too many times because DKs just get trained into the ground. The other macro I have is Focus Chains. This works better when you're playing as Frost for the root. Like say their healer is pretty far away, and you're kiting them, you know, root the healer, start to bring the melee away, keep rooting the healer when he moves closer. He'll be out of range to heal. That's one of the reasons why I like to use it. It's not a big deal when you're playing it as Unholy, because it just puts your diseases on them and slows them. My other macro, Dark Sim. I have this one for my focus because most of the time my healer is the focus, or their healer is the focus. So say my teammate or me is getting, you know, taking a lot of damage, need a heal. I'll see their healer is healing, hopefully, if it's not like a paladin or a shaman who don't even need to heal and cast, then I'll throw it on them, I'll get their heal, and yeah, it's not going to be a very beneficial heal, but it's better than nothing, so that's why I like to have it. I have a focus gnaw and just a regular gnaw macro, a leap and a focus leap. Unholy Frenzy. This macro's for my healer, just to get them out of polys or traps or anything. I'll put the healer's name in there, target equals so and so. Then I have focus grip to grip either to switch to the healer, grip him in, and then we'll switch, or to interrupt a heal. It comes in handy a lot of times to interrupt a heal by just gripping them, so that's why I use that. Focus kick, obviously it's self-explanatory. Focus necrotic strike. The reason I have a focus necrotic strike is for if we're splitting DPS and say we're facing a melee team. What we'll do is to cleave them down. We'll just go right up on them. I'll go on their healer. The other melee that I'm playing with is on me. So if their melee team is fighting our melee team on top of their priest, I'll set one of their DPS as a focus necro, and necro the healer. So it's basically like they're both like, oh my god, we're taking so much damage and so much healing's not being done. It's not like a huge thing, it's not like a game changer. I think it's just a little neat thing that I like to use. Outbreak, this is almost like a soul swap. That's what I see. Like if I'm playing Shadow Cleave, it's like awesome because you know, the lock will be saying, okay, switching to so and so, most likely healer. Like soul swapping dots to healer, then I'm like, okay, that's when I know to outbreak. So I'll outbreak to them, and then we'll switch to them, and it's just like full row of dots, and like so much damage will be done. And that's why I like to have that. So that's it for the macros. This video, like, it could have been a lot better. I just kind of rushed it. I really hope you guys got something out of this video. I know, like, I'm not like super professional, and I don't try to be. Like, I wasn't trying to make this like super serious. But I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I really hope you did get something out of this, because I am trying to help you guys if you're struggling. Make sure to like the video, comment on it, and yeah, like, comment on it saying, like, don't troll me. Like, it's not funny if you troll me, because, like, you can't troll me. Like, I'm not gonna care. So say something, like, productive, like, oh, you could have done this better. And, yeah, don't be a douchebag about it. So, yeah, I'll see you guys later. I'll have more videos out this week because I have the whole week off, and hope you guys enjoyed it.